All right, guys, so there's some Democrats that are telling the truth about Joe Biden's student loan debt forgiveness vote buying scheme, and there's some Democrats that are still telling lies. The Democrat that's telling the truth about this is Mr. Tim Wright, who is the Democratic candidate for the Ohio Senate race. As he says that one of the stupidest things we've ever done in this country is to tell everybody they have to go to college. Yes, and the second stupidest thing is having the government fund it, right? Without any type of real stipulations or restrictions on who can go to college, what degrees they can major in, and whether or not they're going to actually be able to pay back the debt that they owe to get that degree that they are seeking, okay? But, you know, hey, only some Democrats are willing to admit that there's a core problem here that is not being solved when it comes to student loan debt and Biden trying to buy votes. And one of the Democrats that has refused to try to solve the core issue of why we have the student loan debt problem, but wants to forgive student loan debt, aka rob from taxpayer citizens that didn't go to college, is Miss Elizabeth Warren, who has been pressed on this issue of student loan debt before.
My daughter's getting out of school. I saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loan. Am I going to get my money back? Of course not. So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not anybody got screwed. When we
Of course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did. But I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter's worksheet is 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate
That's
it.
all right.
All right, go right ahead.
And she's being pressed again, this time by CNN, as CNN analyst Miss Dana Bash confronts Elizabeth Warren about how this student loan debt relief is not actually going to solve the core problem that we have with the student loan debt crisis. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can check out my new merch, my donkey pox shirts, the disease that's infecting America, or my hashtag no days off / hard work t-shirts, or my MAGA Hub shirts. I have merch that you can check out if you want to support this channel at gforemanbcp.com. Use discount code gforemanbcp for 20% off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip.
On that note, Senator, I want you to listen to one reaction from a small business owner who thinks that he has played by the rules. His name is Brian Lonsberry.
We have done the sacrifices, the no vacations, the no out to eats, and now I'm on the other side. The reason it upsets me so much is, are we setting a good example? It's a little upsetting that we kept paying and struggled and through everything, and then other people just gave up and quit, and I wasn't raised to quit.
What do you say to Brian and others who say that this is really not fair, that a student loan is just one kind of debt and there are other people who don't have that but have other struggles that the government isn't helping them with?
You know, I think a lot about fairness, and I think about how education debt is different from other debt. I look at it this way. I wanted to be a public school teacher from the time I was in second grade. My daddy ended up as a janitor, and there was no money for me to go to college. But I found a public university that cost $50 a semester. And for a price I could pay for on a part-time waitressing job, I finished a 4-year diploma. I became a special education teacher, and it opened 1 million doors for me. That opportunity is not out there today for any of our kids. Our public education system is no longer creating opportunities for kids like me and other kids whose families can't afford to write a check. Instead, we're saying to these young people, you've got to get an education, but we are going to wrap the chains of debt around you. And for many, you're going to be paying it for decades into the future, including getting Social Security checks garnished. That's not the America we want.
Well, I'm not sure.
We want to be an America of opportunity.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that this relieving this amount of debt changes the cost of college. Cost of college is still exorbitant.
Well, look, part of what it does is it deals with the debt has been built up because the cost of college has gone up, because taxpayers have made fewer investments in our public colleges and universities because for-profit colleges have swooped in and figured out that they can cheat a lot of students. We have a lot of problems in the whole system. The president has done what he can do with the tool in front of him.
Yeah, so Elizabeth Warren essentially admits a whole bunch of things that actually go against the policy that she's advocating for here, which is student loan debt forgiveness. One, because she says that, hey, when I went to school, I could afford college. I could go to school and be able to pay back my student loan debt and work 2 jobs, and I was just fine, right? I became a public school teacher. Everything turned out fine. But what she doesn't really address and realize here is that, well, the reason why college is not affordable anymore is because we have overly subsidized and overvalue bachelor's degrees, right? Bachelor's degrees don't actually really give people the skill sets that are needed to go out and get good, lucrative jobs, okay? So what is happening is that the government is saying, hey, we're going to give you a grant or loan or whatever. We're going to give you money to just go to school and get a degree. We don't care about the return on investment, which has incentivized colleges to continue to increase costs because they know that the government's going to pay for it. And over time, what you've seen is that the cost of college is going up and the return on investment for a bachelor's degree is going down, which suggests that there's something wrong with this system, right? That the system is broken. A bachelor's degree has become the equivalent of a high school diploma. Okay, back in Elizabeth Warren's day, if you got a college degree, you could get a very good job. Okay, a very good job. It meant something. Nowadays, having a college degree don't mean anything. It's like having a high school diploma. It's like the basics, okay? You guys ever apply for a job nowadays and you see the requirements? It's like, no. It's not even a bachelor's degree anymore. You got to have a master's degree to actually get decent pay, which is part of the reason why the return on investment for a college degree is going down, because these corporations are overvaluing bachelor degrees. They're making people get bachelor's degrees not because it has anything to do with the job, right, that requires a bachelor's degree. They're making them get it just to say, hey, you got one, right? That's just the minimum requirement. You got to have a bachelor's degree. Doesn't matter if your degree is even relevant to the job. A lot of jobs that people are going to school to get bachelor's degrees for, an 18-year-old can do that job, right? An 18-year-old can do it. They might not have the maturity, but from a skill set standpoint, they can do it, right? They can do the job. But yeah, a bachelor's degree is required anyways. Again, that's a problem. That's an issue. And this is why we need to stop pushing kids to go to these 4-year institutions where the return on investment for their degree is just simply not worth it. Now, again, should that mean that we should stop telling kids to go to college? No. But really, the only people that should go to college are people that, one, are trying to be a part of academia. 2, they need to go to school for a very specific set of skills, or to get some type of professional degree or something like that, like a medical degree or engineering or something like that. Okay, if you're there to actually, do academic studies or go into some type of professional field that actually requires for you to study and to be in school for multiple years, those are the people we should be pushing to go to 4-year university. Everybody else should probably go to community college or go to some specialized trade school where you learn a trade, you learn real skills that are very specialized, where you don't need all the woke gen ed courses. You just learn your skill and then you go get a job, right? And we need to incentivize companies to start hiring these types of workers instead of trying to hire people just because they have a college degree or bachelor's degree. Because quite honestly, the bachelor's degree doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell you anything about the individual, right? It doesn't do anything, but it's just something that you got to have just to have. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? So we need to start pushing kids to go and get very specific skill sets and encourage companies to hire those kids instead of pushing them to go and take out massive amount of debt to go to school to get a degree that teaches them nothing, right? Again, this problem right here, the Democrats don't want to solve. They really don't want to discuss this issue because it doesn't give them something to hang over the heads of woke college students that make bad decisions. That, hey, we're going to forgive your debt. We're going to forgive your debt, which is exactly what this is. Because in 4 years, student loan debt, right, is going to be right back where it was. Okay, after the $10,000 cancellation, we're still going to be right back where we are right now, which is $1.6 trillion in debt. So essentially what the Democrats just did is they say, hey, we're going to wipe away 10K. And then we'll be back in 2024, right? Promising you the same thing. There's a reason why it's only 10K, guys. It's on purpose. It lines up with the election cycle, right? You think it's coincidence that it lines up in 2024 where, we're going to be right back to where we were before? Because the Democrats are planning on doing this every few years to get votes. That's what it's about. They're not interested in solving the problem. They're not interested in trying to make the system cheaper and more costly, right? They're not interested in that. They're not interested in doing anything besides buying votes, which is, again, this is why this is a problem. And this is at the expense of everybody else, people that didn't go to college, people that paid their student loan debt, people that made the right decisions. It's at the expense of them. If you're a college student or you're thinking about going to college right now, why would you pay your student loan debt when you know the Democrats are going to forgive some every few years? They're going to forgive some every few years. So what's the point of paying? There's no point. Again, you're making the system even more broken with more perverse incentives because of this vote buying scheme that doesn't actually solve any problems. Okay? So again, when you hear people like Elizabeth Warren talk about this issue, she wants to talk about fairness. She always deflects to another conversation. She don't really want to talk about the people that are being screwed over, the people who actually did what they're supposed to do, because the Democrat Party don't care about those people. Always remember, guys, Democrat Party, they're the party of criminals, irresponsible people, and worst of all, wokeness, right? That's what a Democrat is. And stuff like this show you exactly who they care about. They don't care about responsible, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens in this country. They don't care, okay? You're simply the means of trying to reward people who don't work as hard as you, who don't contribute as much to the system as you. And then they'll turn around and call you selfish because you don't like the fact that Democrats are taking your hard-earned money and giving it to people who don't work as hard as you or made good decisions like you did, right? That is what the Democrat Party is about. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.